Howdy, Dennis Bradford here. Let's think some about being, feeling, and doing better. Let's learn more from Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. In the previous video, we saw how Thich promoted meditation. You may think of meditation as a formal practice done for X number of minutes every day. It should, however, be much more than that. It's actually a way of life. I enjoy every moment, and I do it in a mode of non-thinking, end quote. From the pocket Thich Nhat Hanh. Every moment means just that. He's not just talking about formal periods of meditation. Sages practice no thought all the time. They're always meditating. It's a way of life. It's wisdom or living well. What sense does that make? It's helpful to drop ordinary conceptualizations about time, about separating it into three parts. Quote, to care for the present is to care for the future. The past and future are both in the present, end quote. From Our Appointment with Life. In a forthcoming video, we'll see how David Hawkins expands on this. As long as we fail to surrender attachment to our conceptualizations, we prevent ourselves from living well. For things to reveal themselves to us, we need to be ready to abandon our views about them, end quote. From Being Peace. You may object, shouldn't we attach to the Buddha's Dharma, his teachings? No. The Buddha never said that his teachings were the absolute truth. He called them skillful means to guide us in the practice. The teachings of the Buddha are a path, a raft to help us get across the river of suffering. The basic meaning of nirvana is extinction, or blow out a flame. It also means the extinction of ideas of existence, non-existence, permanence, destruction, impermanence, no self, middle way, ungraspable, samsara, and even nirvana itself. Nirvana is the release from the prisons of attachment. Above all, from the attachment to ideas, including the ideas of impermanence, no self, and nirvana, end quote. From Thundering Silence. Even if the idea of surrendering attachment to all thoughts is possible, how would that affect our lives? What does continuing to surrender, in other words, practicing Buddhism, really mean? His answer is my favorite quotation from Thich. Practicing Buddhism is a clever way to enjoy life. Happiness is available. Please help yourself to it. Practicing Buddhism is to be alive in each moment, end quote. From Being Peace. My emphasis. Genuine, lasting happiness comes from the non-separation that comes from non-attachment. While we are fully aware of and observing deeply an object, the boundary between the subject who observes and the object being observed gradually dissolves, and the subject and object become one. This is the essence of meditation, end quote. From Transformation and Healing. When the subject identifies with the supposedly separate object, that's an identity or two-in-one judgment. No separation or disidentification, no dissatisfaction. In one of the first books of his I ever read, namely The Heart of Understanding, there was a passage that made this concrete that has now become somewhat famous. When I used to read it to undergraduates, they seemed to appreciate it. I'll end this video by reading it, and save consideration of some of Thich's other teachings until the next video. If you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there will be no rain. Without rain, the trees cannot grow, and without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can say that the cloud and the paper enter R. If we look into this sheet of paper even more deeply, we can see the sunshine in it. If the sunshine is not there, the forest cannot grow. In fact, nothing can grow. Even we cannot grow without sunshine. And so we know that the sunshine is also in this sheet of paper. The paper and the sunshine enter R. And if we continue to look, we can see the logger who cut the tree and brought it to the mill to be transformed into paper. And we can see the wheat. We know that the logger cannot exist without his daily bread, and therefore the wheat that became his bread is also in this sheet of paper. And the logger's father and mother are in it too. When we look in this way, we see that without all of these things, this sheet of paper cannot exist. Looking even more deeply, we can see that we are in it too. This is not difficult to see, because when we look at a sheet of paper, the sheet of paper is part of our perception. Your mind is in here, and mine is also. So we can say that everything is in here with this sheet of paper. You cannot point out one thing that is not here. Time, space, the earth, the rain, the minerals in the soil, the sunshine, the cloud, the river, the heat, everything coexists with this sheet of paper. To be is to interbe. You cannot be by yourself alone. You have to interbe with every other thing. This sheet of paper is because everything else is. Suppose we try to return one of the elements to its source. Suppose we return the sunshine to the sun. Do you think that this sheet of paper will be possible? No. Without sunshine, nothing can be. And if we return the logger to his mother, then we have no sheet of paper either. The fact is that this sheet of paper is made up only of non-paper elements. And if we return these non-paper elements to their sources, then there can be no paper at all. Without non-paper elements like mind, logger, sunshine, and so on, there will be no paper. As thin as this sheet of paper is, it contains everything in the universe in it. Let's end emotional distress.